From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast with Scott Sander.
Welcome to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast. I'm Scott Sander. On this episode, the new editor-in-chief of the Indianapolis Recorder on the Champions of Diversity 2024. CPA Courtney Kincaid on handling payroll. And our industry focus is on an upcoming Creative Economy Summit.
Every business is unique and has a target audience. If you own or manage a business, Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble, offering best-in-class results, service, and support to reach a bigger customer base, allowing you to pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. Get outside the city, the state, span the globe. Put Circulus Digital Media to work for you. Get started now at circulusdigital.com. That's circulusdigital.com.
Welcome again to Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Time to talk about what's happening the week in business. This week, nominations are now open through September 29th for the 2024 Champions of Diversity Awards. Minority Business Review and Indiana Minority Business Magazine present the awards. Wish TV and Business, Equity, and Opportunities are proud media sponsors. To learn more, we sat down with the new editor-in-chief of the Indianapolis Recorder, Tamika Jones.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
So the Champions of Diversity is one of the largest, it is the largest awards event like this in Indiana. It's been around for 17 years. The paper has been around for 128 years. So in collaboration with what the paper does, championing diversity, equity, inclusion, and those efforts, the awards highlight the people who are doing the work every single day. You know, a lot of times this work goes unnoticed. It is what happens in the boardroom. It is what happens in the interview spaces. It's what happens when you're designing policy for your organization. So this award goes to highlight the work that people are doing day in and day out. And it's just part of what the Recorder's overall mission is to bring that diversity into our community. One of the recent winners who I adore, and I just met her actually, is Akila Darden with Darden Construction Group, and she's doing phenomenal work making sure that minority-owned businesses are included in these, big projects that are happening around our city. So that's just a major, major asset to our community, is to have somebody like that who is advocating for people every single day to make sure that they're a part of the fabric of the work that we're doing all over the city. The newest award that we have is the Amos Brown Community Advocate Award. So it's in honor of the late, great Amos Brown, who was always fighting for what was best for our community. So it will be honoring a person who is carrying on that legacy, who is carrying on that tradition of speaking out, of accountability for community leaders and for civic engagement. It will be January 12th at the JW Marriott. We moved to a new location. We had over 1,000 people last year. It was completely sold out. And so we're at a bigger location this time. We're expecting even more attendance and more participation. It's grown in numerous ways. We're still open to more sponsorships and more partners, but you can check out our website to get into the sponsorship packet and figure out how to be a part of this event. So it was a really great opportunity for me to be a part of great storytelling, to be a part of changing the narrative of what Blackness looks like, of what community looks like. Our city is evolving. There are so many new stories to tell. There are so many people to reach out to and to incorporate into what the Recorder does. And now that we have our social media and website and Minority Business Magazine, which is national, we have so many other avenues to be able to share new stories, and it's national, it's worldwide, so we don't have to limit ourselves anymore. We can just spread the message of what the Recorder does all over the world. I was actually running some wonderful programs at the Asante Art Institute, one of which was a writing program. So I was working with young girls and professional female writers who were inspiring these girls to be a part of change, to be those change makers and world leaders in the future, as well as a therapeutic theater program. And I had a background in mental health as well. The core of it is just telling the human story. That's the core of it, and what connects us all. And so what I have found across the board, whether that's in the mental health field or in the journalism field, is that people want to do the right thing, and they may go about it in different ways. But most people want to do good in this world. So it's an opportunity for us to share the good that people are doing. It's continued to grow. We're adding more people here locally as well as nationally. So the national awards are going as well. We just want to make sure that we're a part of celebrating that day in, day out on the ground work that people are doing. So we have more awards that are being given out. Each year that grows, and we have more people that are coming to us to be a part of this program.
Time for accounting and bookkeeping with longtime contributor Courtney Kincaid, president and CEO of the Indiana CPA Society. Today she tackles how to handle payroll and what it means for your business.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
Today we are going to talk about payroll. Something maybe sounds kind of easy. You just pay your employees. Unfortunately, it's a lot more complicated than that, as most things in running a business are. So small business owners, as they grow and bring on employees, have to take into consideration several factors as they consider payroll. It is an area where there is a lot of errors, which can end up being very costly to the employer. Now, the IRS estimates that up to a third of employers are making some errors in payroll. And they tend to all kind of fit into some nice little buckets. But one of the big errors that people run into is just the classification of employees. So you can't just say, someone is an independent contractor or someone's a full-time employee. There are clear definitions and understandings about which are which. One of the most common errors is a misunderstanding of how to classify your workers. So they kind of fall into two buckets. You have employees and you have independent contractors. And there are clear rules around which is which. And what often happens is you might misclassify your worker, which changes the amount of payroll tax you're paying, changes all sorts of withholdings. And if you're not making the proper withholdings, that burden actually falls back to the employer. So that can be really burdensome for small businesses in particular. CPAs obviously can help you better understand which classification each worker is, but then also another common failure is, not doing the proper deductions, not understanding what you need to do. Because as rules and regulations come out, things change, and it can be hard to keep up on these changing rules. So a CPA is actually a good resource to help you with payroll. I know most people think of a CPA as someone who does their taxes or someone who does audits, but CPAs, 2/3 of CPA firms, it's estimated, actually provide payroll services to their clients because it is a lot trickier than you might imagine. Another area that a CPA can help you with when it comes to payroll is understanding what you need as far as records, because you're going to be generating tax documents. And so if information is incorrect in those in the files for your employees, the documents you create are going to be incorrect. And so you're generating 1099s for contractors, you're generating W-2s. So what do you need to know, and what are some good processes for making sure that information is correct? And then how long do you need to retain that information? All of these very nuanced rules are kind of hard to stay on top of when you're trying to run a small business or get something off the ground. And so having a team of financial experts on hand to help you with that, so you can kind of just put that to side, is very helpful. When it comes to payroll and small businesses, one common misperception is if you're the sole employee, even if you're not taking what you might consider a regular check, there are payroll implications for you as that sole entrepreneur. A CPA can help guide you there in understanding, which is also closely related to another misperception, which is tax deadlines April 15th. People say that's like the 4th of July holiday. Everyone knows when tax day is. But the truth is, when it comes to payroll taxes and business-related taxes, those deadlines are very different. And estimated payments might happen multiple times a year. And so avoiding penalties from late payments and having a clear understanding of when things are due is really, really valuable and can end up saving your small business a lot of money. When people think about payroll, sometimes they just think about that actual check, or that biweekly payment or deposit, what have you. But there are actually a lot of other implications and paperwork that go along with both contractors and employees. And so most of us are familiar with the general W-2 form, so making sure you're putting that together. I don't think just the average business owner is thinking about, how do I put together a W-2? So it's nice to have an expert on your team. Likewise, if you are a small business that has a lot of independent contractors, you're going to have to be issuing tax documents to them as well. So how do you put together a 1099? When does it need to be issued? And what are all the nuances around that? It can be really complicated, but is really easy for your CPA to help you with.
It's time to focus on an industry here on Business Equity and Opportunities. Creative Crossroads is back soon, billed as Indiana's Creative Economy Summit. Aims to build strengths in the state's art, design, and entertainment fields in ways that benefit everything else, including small business. The hosts are the Indiana Economic Development Commission and Pattern. We talked about the opportunities for emerging creatives and makers with the founder of Pattern, Helena Osherov.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
So Pattern is a 501c3 nonprofit. We're a public charity, and we came into existence in 2010 as an organization that wanted to support fashion designers in the fashion industry. And over the last 13 years, we've evolved to be more inclusive of all types of creativity and creatives and creative entrepreneurs. And so it's been a real journey for us. It's been a lot of fun, and we've discovered a lot of interesting things about Indiana and about Indianapolis. And that's the big reason why we're convening the Creative Economy Summit this year. The truth of the matter is that not enough people believe in the fashion industry here. And that's part of the reason why we evolved to be broader based. There is a fashion industry here. It's small. There's some really talented folks here. Unfortunately, the patronage is not what it needs to be. There's really not enough resources to help fashion designers grow and go to the next level. So there's not really it's not all good news. I mean, there's talent, but not the resources. We are trying to do something with this conference. So the idea is that we want to bring together stakeholders from around the state. So legislators, policymakers, CEOs, heads of philanthropy, and civic groups to get everybody on the same page what the creative economy is. It's a little bit of a squishy concept because there's a lot that falls under that umbrella. And primarily, the sector that's been supported in Indiana is the nonprofit arts. So we have the Indiana Arts Commission. A lot of the cities around the state have arts councils. And we know that the nonprofit arts generate $8 billion for the state's GDP. What we don't know is what the rest of it doing. And when I say the rest of it, we're talking about the music industry, the film industry, the fashion industry, the design industry, marketing, advertising, new media. There's a lot of things that are happening. And so the conference is designed to get everybody on the same page and recognize that we need a strategy that is statewide for the creative economy in order to enhance the things that we already have. So IADC has been a tremendous partner for us. They have really invested heavily in entrepreneurship over the last couple of years under Secretary Chambers. And what they saw is that entrepreneurs are not just tech, it's way broader than that. And they started recognizing that creative entrepreneurs also need to be represented. And so they have stepped up and partnered with us to host this conference to see what the appetite is statewide for stakeholders to become more engaged with this idea of supporting the creative economy. Quality of place, vibrancy, interesting things going on are all part of attracting the younger demographic to move to a city or to stay here. And so we believe that the creative economy and supporting it will ultimately result in improved talent attraction and retention. This is what folks are drawn to. We know this from studying other markets. And I think everybody realizes that too. It's just a matter of figuring out how do we move forward with this, because it's no small task. But yes, it is top of mind for us that Indiana is so great in so many ways, but this is one area where we really struggle a little bit with talent attraction and retention. And so what else can we do to solve for that? Well, I think that there's a lot of things being done in other industries. So TechPoint is doing a tremendous job as it pertains to tech. I know there's lots of programs in manufacturing and life sciences and sports. These are our key industries, and so they do get the support. Our contention is that let's do that for the creative sectors as well. Maybe we don't do it for every creative sector, but certainly in the industries that have popped and seem to have a lot more energy behind them, for example, the film industry and the music industry, those two could really use a little support, and that will create a lot of excitement and interest. It will raise the quality of Indiana's brand, and that will certainly drive interest in as far as retaining the folks that are here, because they'll be like, well, there's plenty for me to do. There's jobs for me. If I want to be in film and music, I don't have to go and leave to another market to do the job that I want to do. The event is for policymakers, legislators, heads of philanthropy, CEOs of creative companies or non-creative companies that have creative jobs, and civic groups. So it's folks who are at the forefront of setting the pace for the economic development of the state and the values that we have as a state in terms of our talent attraction strategies and also what kind of companies we're going after. And so those people should come, for sure. This is not an event for creatives per se. They're welcome to attend, but we're going to be talking about data, we're going to be talking about policy, we're going to talk about solutions that other markets have implemented that might be helpful to us. So it's going to be, fun for some people, I hope. At the end of the day, we want to ensure that folks have a really much clearer understanding of what the creative economy encompasses and where we sit with nonprofit arts and where we sit with some of the other industries. We want folks to get excited about what's already here, and there's a lot. We want them to be excited about figuring out what those assets are and really putting a number to that. So nonprofit arts are 2.3% of the GDP. I would contend that the rest of it, if we studied it, would take us over 5%, which is more than agriculture for the state, right? Worthy of investment, certainly. And then we want people to self-identify at the end of the conference and put their hand up and say, we want to know more and we want to participate in taking the next steps towards a strategy that will serve all of us around the state to move the needle on this. Well, this conversation, this conference has been a long time coming. We've tried through our organization so many different ways to activate the creative economy and ultimately realize that it can be a grassroots effort. There's been so many organizations that have come and gone that did tremendous work, but were ultimately not sustainable because they lacked the investment that was bigger. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars at the end of the day. The opportunity to put that before our decision makers is certainly a very exciting proposition and a privilege. So I'm just curious to see what happens, see all those faces in the room, and hopefully at the end of it have a lot of people put their hand up and say, yes, me, please, I want to know more.
Our thanks again to all the contributors who joined us for this episode of the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. We hope you found it enlightening, useful, and inspiring. You'll find more information about the show on our website, beoshow.com. You can watch Business Equity and Opportunities Sunday mornings at 10 on Wish TV or live stream it through wishtv.com. Each week we provide 7 full segments with topics ranging from how to get started and how to access capital to the day-to-day running of your business and questions about accounting and bookkeeping. We feature business news and trends and always share a success story from one of our contributors. Join us next time for more insights into the world of small business. Be sure to sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter to get even more valuable, up-to-date information. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, please email us. The address is beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for listening.
Watch the Business Equity and Opportunities show on Wish TV and access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at beoshow.com. You can find more podcasts from Wish TV on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.
BE&O.com.